All right, we are back with the True Strength podcast, episode 5, starting now. For us, we're in different parts of the world. Scott and Tanner over in Texas, Taylor's in New Zealand, and I'm here in Dubai. So it's 9:30 p.m., 5:30 a.m., and 12:30 p.m. What do you fellas say we get together and do a podcast in person?
I say we should do that 100%.
All right.
Hopefully we can
And
facilitate that soon.
we are for it, and we are going to do it, and we want you guys, our clients, to join us. So we are looking at doing our first True Strength retreat. The 4 of us are going to head to Mexico, and we're hoping that some of our members want to come down too for a week of eating healthy, training, mindset work, and just having a good time. We are looking at the end of October in Tulum, Mexico. We have a beautiful villa that that can accommodate a bunch of people. And we're going to train. You guys are going to train. What are some thoughts, Tanner?
I'm excited, man. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good having all of us together.
My thoughts are like, John, you've been trying to get me to do this, I think, for at least 3, maybe 4 years. I think the first time you mentioned it to me was like 3 or 4 years ago, and I just never felt like I was in a place to actually do it. But now I think it's, a real, we're doing it. I'm looking forward to it. Not only am I excited about it, I'd love to get together with all 4 of us, but even more than that, I would love to meet more of our clients in person and to actually work with them in person and meet them. That's what I'm most excited about. So I think a lot of, exciting times ahead. And, I really hope people want to do it because I know we're excited about it.
Yeah. Scott, what do you think?
It'll be good.
Man, couldn't agree more. It's gonna be fun. Seeing the clients in person. All 4 of us have never been together. It's crazy to think about. So
no, and technically Taylor and Scott, you two haven't met each other yet.
That's right. That's right. I feel like I know you. I feel like I know you, Taylor, though. So
what's funny is like Scott and John had never met each other, but they basically worked virtually, so they got to know each other for like quite a few months before they actually did meet, at my wedding. Yeah. So, brother, the online coaching's it's pretty crazy. It's really cool, but yeah, it's definitely crazy.
What you do is such a bitch. I would have met Scott at your wedding, but sorry.
Oh no, dude.
That's
It's a hard trip. Don't apologize, man.
Listen, when we get together, we have to have a wrestling match, cage style.
Well, and I was going to say,
no limits.
With training, there will be the feats of strength. We will, there will be some egos, and we'll have to see who's lifting the heaviest. The other thing I'll say is because, I know we're all online coaches and we're doing that, but I've seen you guys coach in person, and I'll speak for myself and I'll speak for you guys. You're better in-person coaches. And I think the in-person experience will also be absolutely massive. So, when we talk about what it's going to do for True Strength, I think it's going to just build our coaching team better. It's going to build our brand, and hopefully, our clients can really get something out of that week. And a full week of what we really train like.
Yeah, so, that'd be really cool just to put like everybody through like a full week of training with all of us, and that would be so badass.
Well, and John, you've put a lot of effort into this and into making this happen, so I really appreciate that, man. It sounds awesome. Really excited.
And so for you guys listening, the first crack at this thing is going to be for our custom clients. They will certainly have the first opportunity. And end of this week, we're going to come out and we're going to have an early bird special for those that want to get their spot and secure it. And then after that, we'll have it open. And then if there are other people externally that want to join this as well, there could be an opportunity if there's still space, because we're going to limit to really, with the four of us, about 20 people. So, spaces will be limited. So you guys can just message us on True Coach, how to get in touch and rock and roll. Now,
Looking forward to it.
Next thing we want to talk about is Tanner. It's been a week. You've been a father for a week. What's that been like?
Man, it's been incredible. Okay, so it's basically, yes, a week. My baby was born at 6:01 p.m. So in like 5 hours, my baby will be exactly a 1 week old. Last week was a whirlwind. I don't even remember. It was like a blur. I don't really remember a lot of last week because I didn't work that much. Being in the hospital on Tuesday, I was actually in the operating theater when my wife was having the C-section. I saw the doctor doing the C-section, and I saw them literally like push my baby out of her. So that was all kind of surreal, and I wasn't like grossed out or anything. It's just like, holy smokes, man, this is really happening. And then, there was a very successful C-section. Everything went perfectly, thankfully. They took my baby out, and I was looking at her, and I held her. I didn't know if it was going to be a boy or a girl because we decided not to know.
That's crazy.
And they got her out there, and they held her up. I got to kind of look at her, and we're blessed. And then Tinica she was conscious the whole time. She had like a spinal block, so she can't feel anything in her lower body, but she's awake and knows exactly what's going on the whole time. So I got to show Tinica the baby, right after, they got her out. And it's been crazy. Like, sleep's been very erratic, obviously, the first 5 days, because we stayed at the hospital for another 3 days. But we've kind of already maybe got a little bit of a schedule with it. And right now, all the baby does, it's eating a ton, sleeping, and, going to the bathroom all the time. But it's been good. I've been definitely having a lot of quality time with my baby. So
have you changed the diaper yet?
Dude, I've changed probably at least 20 already. Okay. I change at least 2 or 3 diapers every day. I'm not going to make my wife do it all. Luckily, my mom was here, and Tinica's parents are here, so they've been very helpful too. But yeah, it's been great. Like, my baby, her name's Shelby. She doesn't cry that much. It doesn't, like, I feel like she's going to be a good baby. So, I've heard people, like, some babies will just be very, they'll cry more than other babies. I think we've been fortunate so far. Like, our baby only cries when she's really hungry, or when she gets cold, or maybe when she needs her diaper changed. Other than that, she's just chilling, so it's been good.
Taylor and Scott,
did you cut the cord? Did you cut the cord?
Yeah, I did cut the cord. Yep. Cut the cord.
I remember when I cut the cord the first time, they're like, here's the scissors, and it's like surgical scissors, these huge scissors.
Yeah. Yep.
And I was trying to cut that cord, and I was cutting it over and over and over. It just would not cut.
Dude, the same thing happened to me. I had to cut it like I was thinking it would cut faster, like there's sharp surgical scissors, but
yeah,
whatever, that cord's like, it's kind of thick.
It's a lifeline,
so it took me like 3 or 4 snips to actually even start to cutting it. Yeah, it is. It's a literal lifeline.
I told the doctor, I'm like, man, you got to sharpen these things. These are not sharp enough.
I felt the same way. But yeah, it all went really good, man. Taylor, remind me, you had your son first or your daughter first?
My son first. My son was born in Hong Kong at Queen Mary Hospital, which is a public hospital. So I didn't even get to go into like the delivery room with her or whatever, because it's pretty, it's China, and it's pretty regimented, like conveyor belt style.
Yeah.
But my second kid was born in New Zealand, but she was born 10 weeks early. And so I remember, like, my wife had some issues with bleeding, because placenta previa or whatever. So I was at home at like 1 a.m, and then I got a call, and they're like, hey, you need to get to the hospital because the baby's coming. So like you said, I walked in there at like 1 a.m, and they were like, all right, look, we're going to do a C-section. We're going to bring her out. We're going to put her in a bag because she was so new and so little, right? So I'm like standing there just in a daze, and they cut her open, they bring the baby out, and they literally put her in a bag and just like wheel her out. And she went straight into like the neonatal ICU and stuff like that.
NICU.
But I remember that just being like, like just almost unable to kind of comprehend everything that was going on because it just seemed like I was on like another planet. Dude. I was just like, wow, there's just so much going on, man. But it was a whirlwind, and
Yeah.
everything's all good now. So man, yeah, good job that everybody's healthy, man.
Yeah, thank God. No, that's it. We were very fortunate. Like, honestly, I think having a scheduled C-section was almost a blessing because there wasn't that many surprises that we were told when to be at the hospital. We were told
Yeah.
when it's happening, and it all happened kind of as planned. And thank goodness the baby was healthy. So very lucky. But yeah, being a dad's great. I'll just say that I love it so far.
Only gets
Yeah,
better,
well,
man.
Congrats.
Only gets better.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
does. It does.
Thank you
And
very much.
I was gonna say, like, as far as the C-section thing, it is good to know exactly when it's happening. For my second kid, my wife was going into labor. They said, "Hey, it's gonna be another." This was at like midnight, and they said, "Hey, it's gonna be another, I don't know, 7 hours or something until anything happens." So I took an Ambien, and I'm like laying on the couch. Literally 15 minutes later, she's like giving birth, and so like I had just taken an Ambien. I'm all like woozy and dazed out and shit. So that's why having a scheduled C-section is a good thing.
Yeah,
Well,
that'd be
again,
brutal.
congrats, Tanner, and we can't wait to hear more updates about Shelby.
Well, thank you. Well, we can't wait for you to join the dad club, John. Fingers crossed soon.
All right. So moving on. So we're going to have discussion. We're going to get to some of our client questions, but this question, what has talking about fitness now? What has been a mistake you used to make in training, and how did you correct it, or how did you figure out it was even a mistake? Does anyone want to start on that? Tanner.
I can go with that. So a mistake that I used to make in training a lot is kind of when I got initially into CrossFit. Like CrossFit was all new to me. Like I'd been training in a very structured, progressive way before that for 5 years playing college football, but I wasn't doing any of the programming or coaching. I was just showing up and doing what I was told. And that's just what I knew training to be. Then, when you finish playing college football and then you're out of a structured program, you no longer have a coach. You have to figure it out all yourself. And then I got into CrossFit and, the whole ideology or methodology of CrossFit, it's doing constantly varied functional movements, at a high intensity. And so then I started diving all into that, like reading all of these CrossFit articles and listening to Greg Glassman and trying to figure out, all right, how do I train for CrossFit? And so then I was just doing constantly varied random workouts all the time, thinking that I was training. And I did that for probably like 6 months. And I kind of realized, like, dude, I'm not getting any better. I actually got weaker, doing that. And maybe some areas of my fitness might have improved, like my cardio, but my strength got worse. I was less muscular. Um, and I could tell that this was not the right way to train or sustainable. And so luckily I had enough common sense to figure out, damn, I need to go back and do what I was doing. I need to kind of take a structured, progressive approach. I need to stay strong, prioritize the basics, and then just kind of make my other training that was included in CrossFit kind of specific to CrossFit. So instead of doing like whatever football practice or, football specific, field work, that's when I just did CrossFit Metcons and I did the skill work of CrossFit. But a big mistake was not having a plan, doing random workouts, thinking that I was training when all I was doing was random exercise. So that's a big mistake that I made, is not having a plan and not having structure or progression.
Okay. Thank you, Tanner. Taylor?
I think this kind of pertains. I mean, obviously, I've been training for a long time, and as I've gotten older, and specifically as I've gotten, I guess, weaker, as you would call it, because the emphasis of my training has changed. I didn't put enough emphasis on essentially how I was moving. All right, and what I mean by that is prepping for the movement. All right, so as I've gotten older, I've also understood like it doesn't take all that much to maintain strength. But when we're talking about building more muscle mass as we get older, that does become quite a bit of a challenge. And I think I made the mistake of when I had a niggle or I had something with my hip, all right, and I started to kind of accommodate that injury, I would kind of feel like I was imbalanced in my squat or like, certain setup positions weren't kind of the same. And I would just try to kind of grind through that. And that would obviously lead to little niggles that would obviously become more and more detrimental as I got on. So as I've gotten older, I've really harkened back to like, I don't need to be doing, 7 sets of, doubles at 90+% or whatever. Like, so, and that's kind of why I use the Windler and all that stuff, because it's, 3 sets where I'm going to get a fucking max out stimulus on that last set. And pretty much all the benefits that I was working for, for 2 hours in the gym, I can achieve in that 45-minute to that 1 hour time frame by assuring that my movement is high quality. Okay. That I prep with a good warm up, I elevate my heart rate, I get moving, and then I kind of focus on the intent and the movement of that kind of workout more so than accumulating that volume, like a lot of people kind of get in that pitfall. So it's basically harkening back to really good quality movement and then intense mindful workouts like that you're getting intensity with for the most part, right? So more is not always better, right? And bang for your buck quality movement is where I focus, man.
Better is better.
Yeah.
Better is better. I like what you said there, Taylor. Kind of it's similar for me. I think the biggest mistake I've made in training is treating every workout like a tryout. I've always felt like if I didn't leave the gym halfway dead, 1 foot in the grave, like then it wasn't good work, And so when you're young and you have more flexibility with your sleep and your nutrition, the effects of that don't show up as quickly, but man, I'll tell you what, being in the NFL, it really taught me that the goal is not to win the weight room on Tuesday. The goal is to have bullets in the chamber for Sunday and to continue to get stronger and keep your strength through the season and through the week, really just not get injured. So, for me, I started coming up with a plan. The plan became more important than, how hard I'm going that day. So I put more effort into planning everything out instead of just more intensity. And yeah, it really showed up with injuries when you're pushing that hard without a plan
all the time.
I think that's my biggest lesson.
Okay. And myself, I mean, a mistake, like it's actually a lot more simple. I just when, for a long time, especially, in college, I don't think I squatted low enough. And back in the day, it was one of these things where it's like, squatting too deep's bad for your knees, guys. And just like, and it was one of these, and training wasn't like what it is now. There wasn't knees over toes guy. There wasn't all these things that actually like, oh, it is good for you. And it was kind of one of these things we believed, like, squat to parallel, but don't go lower, and that was a mistake I made for years. And then like, oh, you wanna actually, you can squat low and it's good for you. And but it took me years, and it kind of took me post college to really to learn that and start to squat lower. And hey, it's been good since. Dan,
I got one more thing that I think is worth mentioning. A big mistake that I made after college and like getting into CrossFit is deviating from the basics. Okay. And there was even a period of time where like I got kind of into bodybuilding, because I was like, damn, dude, I'm not as jacked as I was in college. I didn't know why. And like all the information you might have is like muscle magazines or, social media was kind of in its earlier days. You had YouTube. And so then I started doing like all of the cable fluff bodybuilding bullshit. Instead of just getting back under a barbell. And just there's a caveat. It's like, man, when you're natural and you're trying to be strong and jacked, like training like IFBB pro bodybuilders is not going to work. You can do all the cable, all the machines, all the fluff work, and you're not going to look like those bodybuilders. And so I tried, the gimmicks, the novelty exercises that really don't move the needle at all. And so when I got away from the basics, I got worse. And then when I got back to the basics, I started getting strong and jacked again. So that's another mistake I made, was deviating from the basics. And I know this message probably gets old, but it's like, man, all you really need is a handful of exercises or movement patterns, and just strengthen those movement patterns over time. That's what you really want.
And exactly like Taylor said, I mean, do them well. And, as better is better. Just do them really well,
Well,
or what is
and
it?
when you're talking, go ahead.
No, it's, what's the Bruce Lee quote? Don't worry about a guy who's practiced 1,000 kicks. Worry about the guy who's practiced the same kick 1,000 times, or whatever the quote is, right? So it's just like, get really good at those basics, and it's gonna have huge effects.
No doubt. And I'll just add on and say, 85% of your strength gains, in my opinion, come from these compound movements that you do over and over. And even if you're a natural lifter, I would say probably 70, 75% of strength of muscle, like as far as physique, comes from these compound movements as well. So that should always be the foundation if you're a natural lifter.
Yeah.
I would just add to that, Scott. You're absolutely right. I would say it's like 90%.
Okay. I wouldn't
argue
with that.
In my opinion, dude, I'm a big believer. If you just do about 6 exercises and you get really strong at those 6 exercises, that's going to keep 90% of your muscle mass on your frame. Okay. So that's how important the compounds are.
Hell yeah. I like your messaging, Tanner, because you're very consistent in that. And it's because it's the truth,
Yeah, it took me a long time it's taken me many years to figure it out, but it's crazy because the longer I've trained, the more simple my training has almost become, so it's interesting, but that's what I believe. So anyways.
Okay. Well, thanks, guys. We are going to get into a couple of the client questions, and I'm going to run through. We have a whole bunch, so we'll get through them. The first one, Tanner.
I just want to say first off to all the clients that listen to this, thank you so much for asking us these questions. I think it's great because when we were doing the group coaching calls, sometimes we'd have no questions asked. But now that we actually have this podcast, actually, I should thank you, John, for, your idea was to start this podcast, and it's been really awesome. And I think we're providing a lot more value to clients. So clients who listen to this, thanks for asking the questions. And John, thanks for having the idea to do this podcast. So sorry, man. I just wanted to say that.
And our clients want to ask questions so they can get featured on this very famous podcast. What can I say?
That's right. That's right.
All right. So first question comes from Brian Offutt. And he says, do y'all have a favorite barbell, brand, diameter, etc.? I'm going to start. I'm going to say, Brian, I was in Olympic lifting years ago, and I went out and I bought an Eleiko sport training barbell. I paid, I guess about $1,200 for it. I still have it. It's just as good as of an Olympic weightlifting barbell as you can get. Good whip to it. Somewhat passive center knurl, and I love her.
Is it passive because you
one guy
it down?
No, you can actually get 3 different choices to how passive you want that center knurl, and I kind of went the middle one.
Okay.
Tanner, because Tanner has the same one, and his is aggressive.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah,
dude. We'll talk. Well, John.
So
who else?
That's my favorite, Brian. I love that barbell, and I was thinking about selling it, but there's been one guy who's clean and jerk 500 pounds on it, and it's a good ass bar.
Yeah,
I'll buy it from you. It sounds
Come get it.
badass. Go ahead, Tanner.
Scott, don't buy it because I'm about to buy one, and you can just use mine. Because
Right
okay,
on.
so Brian specifically, I think this is the best advice that me and John could give you. I think Taylor will agree. Please just go buy an Eleiko barbell, spend the money. I have two Eleiko barbells. In total, it's probably, I don't know, around $1,500 for both barbells. And they're stuck in Dubai right now, which breaks my heart. But if you guys can see me right now, my neck is all torn up from doing power cleans and front squats yesterday with this shitty Rogue barbell that has super aggressive knurling, because that's the only barbells they have at this gym where I'm training, and it's killing me. And so I think I'm actually going to go buy another Eleiko barbell, because Eleiko is based in Austin here in the US. I'm about to just go buy another one because I can't stand training with the shitty Rogue barbell any longer. And it's been tearing up my neck. It's not, there's like no whip to it. There's no flex. I don't like using it that much. I'm just forced to use it, and it's been tearing up my neck. But Brian, just dude, if you're gonna train, if you're gonna be training for a long period of time, get nice things. And I swear, an Eleiko, like no other barbell, in my opinion, even compares to Eleiko. Okay, unless it's like specifically a deadlift bar, then you can get like a Texas Power Bar, or even like a Rogue deadlift bar that's a little bit thinner diameter that have flex. But that's specifically for deadlifts. If you want a good all around versatile bar, Eleiko's the way to go, in my opinion.
And you know, I'll just add to that really quick. I did go tour the Eleiko factory about 10 years ago, and I got to see how they're made, and they make those barbells to last you for 20, 30 years of hard use. They're excellent, excellent
Dude.
Swedish steel.
Yeah, and
Sorry.
one quick caveat to that for Brian specifically, you don't need to get the nicest Eleiko barbell. Like even their probably most affordable barbell is still better than 95% of other manufacturer barbells. So, dude, just get an Eleiko barbell and thank us later.
Scott, do you care about barbells?
I do. I really do. I'll say, so I'll agree with Tanner. There's never been a time where I regretted a decision to spend more money on something nice in my gym. In fact, I'd say if I buy $1,000 barbell, you might as well buy a $1,500 barbell and just make it the best, you know? That's kind of how I think. With that said, I have to go with the Texas Power Bar. I have to. Now, not for power cleans, obviously, but for bench press, I love that bar. I have one. I have a few bars, but that Texas Power Bar, it's just, I guess it's something nostalgic about it, but it has very, very aggressive knurl on it, and I love that for bench press.
Is it still the same diameter? Is it 28 millimeter? Do you know, or is it a little bit thicker?
It's 29.
29. Okay.
Yeah, sometimes those bench press or squat bars specifically, like basically they're powerlifting bars, the diameter will be a little bit thicker. I think that's good for like powerlifting, but I don't know if I'm just looking for a well-rounded bar you can basically do everything with. You can do Olympic lifting too. I think whatever Eleiko, John, are those 27 diameter for
They're
the
28.
Eleikos? 28, excuse me.
Yeah.
Those are my favorite, man.
If I'm going to have one barbell, of course, I'm going to say that too. Like just overall good whip, you know, I want to be able to power cleans. It doesn't affect bench that much anyway, but damn, I grew up on those Texas Power Bars and just the steel and the knurl on it. I don't know. It's not like
they're good. They're very good.
And, you know, I don't know if you guys have ever seen the bars they use with monoliths. So that's the big machine that like you come off and it just comes out. It's a full knurling across the entire thing. Real thick, 30 kilos. They're wild. Absolutely wild.
They don't they probably don't bend at all.
Zero bend. Because people do put on like, 500 kilos or something stupid, you know, full suits and all that. Taylor,
crazy.
Any thoughts on your barbell?
Not to beat a dead horse, man. Eleiko, I think that's the top standard for, you know, any lifter, any facility that's top notch Olympics, they're going to have it because it's simply the best, man. You can beat them up, you can throw them around. They're not going to bend or break as easy as the other ones, man. It's just it's the best barbell you can get.
Taylor and I, when he used to live in Hong Kong, we used to go to some specific gym because they had a Eleiko bars and plates, and we'd go lift on them. I don't know if you remember that.
I do. I also remember the first time you took an Eleiko bar out of the box and sliced your throat up. There was skin on the center knurl.
Yeah, I didn't realize how aggressive it was going to be. So, yeah. All right. Our second question comes from Eric Chad, and he says, I wasn't able to get to sleep last night till around 1 a.m., but he went to bed at 10. Got up at 4:30 to do his workout. In situations like this, do you recommend pushing through the workout, or is it better to rest, sleep, and figure out a way to adjust your schedule to get the work in later? My schedule is always pretty tight, so it may not always be possible to make up a lost workout. Tanner.
Get up and do the workout. Okay. If it's one bad night of sleep, it's not going to kill you. Like I've been functioning, I've trained the past 2 days on 5 or 6 hours of sleep. Okay. And I'm fine. I'm going to be all right. If it's like consecutive days on like 4 hours of sleep, then yeah, it could be beneficial to let your body, sleep more and then train later in the day if your schedule permits. But if it's just like a one day thing, or if it's like once a week thing, dude, you're not always going to have perfect sleep. You're not always going to feel great when you're going into the gym. What matters overall, like long term, is consistency and compliance. I've had thousands of workouts on not great sleep, and I don't regret a single one. So that's my opinion on that.
I totally agree. Anyone have any other different thoughts?
No, I mean, I would say it just depends, is this the third night that you're getting very little sleep? If it's one night, get your ass in there, get it done. If this is a longer term problem that we're looking at, then you may need to look at why it is and then fix it, on that end, instead of just kind of getting punched in the face and reacting. You know what I mean? But for instance, I'll just say this, like when I was playing football and Tanner and I were roommates, there were plenty of nights where we had to stay up late and get shit done for school, projects, whatever. Well, we worked out at, what time was it? 5:30 in the morning?
Yeah.
5:30 in the morning.
We had to be inside the weight room at 5:30 or 5:45 for like a 6 a.m. start. Like if you're not in the weight room at 5:50, you're late. Yeah.
We lifted heavy and hard. There was no excuses. That time didn't change for us, but we got in there and got it done. Yeah, we were younger, and like once you get older and you have you're able to adjust things, then do it. But I would say just for one night, just get her done.
Yeah. Taylor, do you have any input on that? I got one more thing I'll tell Eric, but I want to get to Taylor too.
I mean, sleep is obviously vital. I mean, your body needs it, but I mean, you can get away with a decent amount. I mean, there's days where you get 5 or 6 hours, and for me, honestly, that's a typical night's sleep most nights, right? You just got to get up and get moving, man. Doing something is better than nothing. It's not always going to be perfect, right? Maybe you adjust the weights here and there, but you still got to get up and do the work, man.
Yeah. And to answer this question specifically for Eric, like Eric's a really successful guy. He owns his own company. Eric, bro, you have power. You can control your day. Sometimes maybe you might need to sleep and then to move your workout later and then just make your workout a priority. Like make that your most important meeting of the day. That's what I would tell you. Because man, health is wealth. Nothing's more important than your health. So you can control your schedule. So if you need to allow yourself to sleep sometimes, do it and then just get your workout in later the day. Cancel another meeting or something like that. Just dude, I mean, we're all going to be biased, but your health, your training, in our opinion, should always be like pretty much your number one priority. But if you have power of your schedule, you can control your schedule, just freaking fit it in, man, and just make it happen.
Okay. Next question comes from another Tanner, this time Tanner Nelson.
I love this kid. He's a good kid. Good kid.
Of course you do. Is it normal for my body weight to fluctuate 3 to 5 pounds every day? One day I'll weigh 170, next day I'll weigh 165. Well,
Yeah.
my message to you, Tanner, is if you weigh 205, you're not going to weigh those weights, so you'll be fine. But I say, yeah, it's very normal, Tanner. It's really that's water weight. Like that's, not to be too crass, but that's a huge shit. So,
Yeah. Dude, I worked out yesterday. Like Sunday, I ate a bunch of food, drank a bunch of water. I took 10 grams of creatine. And like yesterday morning, me and Andrew were doing the lower body. Dude, it's like we sweat so much. I probably lost almost 10 pounds of water in that one workout. Like literally all my clothes were completely soaked with just sweat. And I think my weight, I probably lost like at least 8 pounds of water weight just in that single workout. So completely normal for your weight to fluctuate, even more than 5 pounds. Obviously, the bigger guy you are, the more weight your weight will fluctuate. But I wouldn't worry about it, Tanner. Just make sure you rehydrate after that workout, and bro, just keep training hard, keep eating enough food, and keep getting strong.
okay. Madar Zidane, he asked the question: if you had only 2 exercises to do for the rest of your life, what would they be? Who's got 2? Nice and quick.
Squat and bench press.
Okay. Tanner?
Taylor, let's go, Taylor.
Snatch and muscle up.
Ooh.
Okay.
All right, I'd go back squat and muscle up.
And I would go back squat and pull up.
Yep.
Pull up.
And
yeah.
just a strict pull up, like, this is actually, let me just, I'm going to just say one, Tanner, we talked about this probably a while back now, but we said, like, what is a really good fitness test? And it would be like, how much can you back squat and how many pull-ups can you do? So one is, moving a heavy weight, lower body, and one is moving your body weight, upper body. And I think that's like, if you can do both really well, you are going to be a fit person.
And healthy, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but if you can say that you can bench press 405 pounds, that's all that really matters, in my opinion.
Yeah, but you could be a fat ass. You could be a fat
That's
ass
true.
and do that.
That's true. I'm kidding.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. I know.
But
So
if you do a bunch of pull-ups, you're probably not going to be that fat.
Can't be.
Yeah.
I made a video about this probably like 2 months ago. Is like the top 25 exercises, and so my top 2 were the back squats number 1, and then strict pull up was number 2. I would have put strict muscle up as number 2, but 99% of people can't do a strict muscle up. So I was like, that's not really going to apply for most people. And so, yeah, like John, you're right. It would be in my opinion, you're right. It would be a back squat and a strict pull up, because then if you're competent in both of those exercises, you're going to be you're going to have good absolute strength and you'll have good relative strength, which means you're going to be strong, muscular, and lean, which consequently means you're going to be a healthy person.
Yeah. But also it's not a right or wrong. It's just, what would you do?
Yeah, it is. It's back squat and pull up, bro. It's the only answer.
Nah. Okay. Well, yeah. So to your point though, when I was creating my goals and I had 405 bench as my goal, I still want to be able to do plenty of pull-ups. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because, yeah, you're right, man. Who cares if you could bench press 405 if you can't even fucking do one pull-up?
Yeah, or walk up a flight of stairs.
Yeah, so I do agree with you all. I was just kidding.
And just so you know, Scott, I've now started benching twice a week. Ugh.
You know what? I wanted to talk to you about that because I have too. This morning, I went and did, so I switched out my overhead press for another bench day.
Wait, can we digress on that? Can we digress on this a little bit? Because I want to know. John and Scott, do you mind sharing your bench press cycle? Like, are you doing it like on like a Tuesday, Friday? And like, are you having one heavy day, one like light speed day, or how are you programming that?
Yeah, for me, I'm doing the one heavy day. That'll be my Friday. So, I'm about to start my 6-rep maxes this Friday. And then on my Monday, it's a lighter volume explosive day. So I went up to 315 for some singles with a really slow descent, 3-second pause, and fast as I can off my chest. Then I backed off to 120, so 265, and did it for 2 sets of 3. So not a lot of volume, and just did it as fast as I can, as explosively as I could.
I actually have a question about that, John. So, like in my mind, I would always put the heavy day at the beginning of the week because you're coming off like usually a weekend, so you're 2 rest days, so you're more recovered. So
No, but
tell me your
I
thoughts on that.
I go rest day Saturday, Saturday, kind of Tuesday and Wednesday. So I squat on
Oh,
Sunday, bench Monday, have a light day Tuesday, rest Wednesday, lower body Thursday, bench Friday.
okay.
It's
So you're
just how I
actually
do it.
so you're the most recovered for your bench actually on a Friday, which is why you do the heavy day Friday.
Yeah, I guess so. Well,
Okay.
and actually, it also it quite closely follows the 4-day split on TrueStrength coaching.
Yeah, it's a 4 day split. It doesn't matter what days of the week you do the 4 day split. It doesn't matter. All right, Scott, how are you doing it?
Okay, so I simply just replaced my overhead press day with another bench day, and I couldn't catch everything John said. You're doing eccentric. What rep ranges, John?
Uh, Low, like 3 singles and triples.
Okay, I'm doing fives, so I'm building up to like a 5x5, but similar. I'm going eccentric down 3 seconds, exploding off the chest, really fast reps, basically 5x5s at 265, but as fast as I can move this bar.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah.
Yep.
255, 265, somewhere in there. Then I go to a close grip bench press, and then after that do a dumbbell, um, flat dumbbell bench.
Is
Gotcha.
that your main, Scott? So do you have a heavy day and then you have the 5x5 slow eccentric fast concentric day?
That's a good question. I like to do this the eccentric day first.
Okay.
Okay. I just feel like it primes my body, for that heavy day. So that heavy day is coming on Saturday.
Okay.
Okay. Does that make sense?
Interesting. Yeah, it makes sense.
I don't know.
All right.
I do understand, like, yeah, you want to, like, that's why you squat on Mondays.
Mhm.
You want to lift heavy kind of at the beginning of the week, but I'm thinking about benching all week, so it's kind of like a build up for me. It's a way for me to get excited
Gotcha.
and motivated.
And I enjoy the bench press, so it's like it's nice to have it knowing, it's at the end of the week and you get to look forward to that.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
So anyways, yeah, that's kind of the deal with the bench press. Moving on, our next question comes from Alex Wood, and he says, "Do you do any warm-ups before lifting, like light cardio or jump rope, or do you just walk in and warm up lifting sets as your warm-up?" I'm going to probably speak for everyone, Alex, and say we all do warm-ups before we lift, but does anyone want to elaborate a bit more on that?
Yeah, I just walk into the gym, load the bar with 405 and unrack it and go.
That's
No, I don't.
sarcasm.
Yeah, that's definite sarcasm. Alex, I'll tell you exactly how I warm up. Takes me about 5 to 7 minutes. I'm gonna get on usually like a rower or like an assault bike, and then I'll do like some total body dynamic exercises. It could be simple as like a bear crawl, high knees, or like an inchworm. And then whatever I'm doing in my workout that day, usually with an empty barbell, I'll start just warming up with that barbell and I'll kind of just put that into my warm up. And then after about 7 to 10 minutes, like I'm kind of good, warmed up, a little sweaty, then I'll start my warm up sets for that lift that I'm doing for that particular workout that day.
Yep.
That's what I do. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, same with me. I, get on, my first thing is either on the rower on a bike or I'll drag a sled backwards just to get moving over 4 or 5 minutes.
Yeah. What do you do, Taylor?
I do kind of the same thing. If I'm doing like a deadlift or kind of like a pull, then I'll hop on a rower. If I'm going to be squatting like below parallel, whatever, I'll probably hop on an assault bike. And then if I'm bench pressing or something, I'll do like a ski erg. So I do try to kind of isolate a little bit of the
Yeah.
body parts like that I'm moving, but I'm going to be on a machine and elevating my heart rate for probably a good, 3 minutes. And then, like you say, I'll grab a barbell and I'll do what I'll call barbell yoga. Where I'll just do some stretches, get in some positions, loosen up with the barbell, and then start adding weight to it.
Yep.
Yep.
Can never go wrong with that. Ever. All right. Hopefully that answers Alex's question.
Yeah, but Alex, just like get your body moving. That's the big thing. Start gentle and then ramp up.
Yep.
And we can probably all speak to this because we've all been working out, for over 20 years. It's different from when we were 18 to 20 to 22, right? It does take longer, and you cannot neglect those, or it will bite you in the ass.
Yeah,
Definitely,
especially
John.
yeah.
Well, I'll just add on to like uh, a warm up has one job, and that's to make the workout better. Don't get lost in the warm up. Okay. Um, you want to get the warm up over with and then go straight to that compound lift. You don't want to waste too much time on a freaking cardio machine.
Yeah,
And
or a foam roller or any of that.
Yeah.
But Hunter Stewart, I will just add, I have been a witness as Tanner and I used to work together for many years. I saw some people with looks of desperation in their eyes during Tanner's warm-ups. He used to put some classes and clients through brutal, hard warm-ups. They probably needed it, but I don't know if you remember that, Tanner.
Of course I remember it. And bro, like I did the same thing. I literally would treat this CrossFit class just full of average general population, unfit people, just like whatever a football workout. I was like, I didn't give a shit. Like I knew this was what the best thing for them. And I don't care about how people feel. I care about actually getting them results. And so like I would literally just put them through like a football warm up. I would make everyone line up on a line. We're doing like dynamic stretches for 5 to 10 minutes. We're going to get good and sweaty. I'm going to get them ready to go. And then we're going to go into whatever power cleans or back squats or deadlifts. And like just in the warm-ups were fast. Like they were really efficient, and I ran my class kind of like a military instructor because like that's how I was brought up. And like, I just knew it worked. And so that's what I did,
Scott, I'd be walking by and like someone looked me in the eyes and I could see it. They would look at me like they're help me, but I was like, nothing I can do here. I'm just walking
Save
by.
me.
Dude, I was helping them. I was helping those people. I was
so
helping
funny.
those people.
In football, especially college football, it's not really true. It's not at all true in the pros, but in college football, they try to break you. They try to break you in the warm-ups. It's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. Our
job,
next
Tanner.
question comes from Hunter Stewart, and he says, more of a life question for the four of you. How do you guys bounce back after an extended period of life constantly testing you? Look, Hunter, I'm going to give you just some advice from me. For me, working out and lifting, and it's an anchor for me where, even when life is testing me, it's what I know is there. And, as I always say, 200 pounds is 200 pounds. So, things might suck, but like that barbell is going to feel the same. And whether you take that as a comfort or not, but, I use it as an anchor in my life. And as something to kind of keep me at a certain level. How about you guys?
Yeah, well, okay. Here's what I'll say is, when life gets really hard, I would say honestly, just lower the bar, all right? But don't drop it. When life's beating me up, um, similar to John, man, you got to find the anchors. You got to get back structure. You have to fight for that structure, man. When life gets chaotic, the first thing you lose is rhythm. You stop training, you stop eating right, you stop sleeping as well, you stop praying, you stop doing the small things that keep you sane, you know? So the hard season, it gets even harder because there's no structure under your feet. You need to start with those anchors, like what John's saying, man. It doesn't always feel good, but just start showing up. Be on time. Okay. Get your lifts in, do your job, just do the work. Just go in and start hitting singles for your workouts. It doesn't need to be a home run every single time, man. Try to get that consistency back as much as you can. And I can tell you this because there's been plenty of times in my life where things have gone off the rails, have gotten chaotic myself. So that's what really helps me personally, is finding those anchors, getting structure back in my life.
Yeah, that's
Taylor.
great.
Taylor, yeah, Taylor, you got an answer?
Yeah, this will be, I got to go to, so this will probably be the last thing that I do. How I stay anchored is, number one, is I try to, well, like you say, the small things. So I start every day with a lesson, typically the Daily Stoic or something like that. And it's kind of a constant reminder of perspective, right? So when things get hard, the only thing you can really do, the only thing you can ever really do is control the controllables, man. You need to understand what is in your realm of control and what isn't. Because if you start worrying about all the other shit that could go wrong, what other people are going to do, what they're going to say, what's going to be thrown your way, you can't focus on like the task at hand or what you can actually make an impact on, right? So number one is control what you can control and don't try to influence so many things outside of your sphere. And then number two is perspective, man. Like, what is life? Life is supposed to be hard and challenging, right? I think your greatest duty on the earth is to be a good person. And how do you do that? Is you wake up and you do good things. And doing good things is going to be hard, man, right? Like, straight up, it's going to be hard to do. It's not the easy thing, it's the right thing. But controlling what you can control and knowing that you're going to wake up and your purpose is to serve others and to do human acts, which are going to be hard things to do. So if you approach every day like that, then you're already winning. And just understand that life is filled with things that you got to do, right, to serve others and to be a good person. So when you get time to do what you want to do, enjoy those times. But no, that's not life. Life is not about doing what you want to do all the time. Okay. It's about doing what you got to do and being a good person and then enjoying the times you get to do what you want to do. And so that's kind of my perspective of how I keep control on things, man.
It's great.
I
Good
love it.
perspective. Yeah. John,
All
could
right.
you quickly repeat that question? I just want to make sure I answer it. It was basically, what do you do when life's testing you? And
Yeah.
when you, oh, sorry, Taylor. Taylor, you got to peace out?
I got to go, but I don't know if it's going to mess this up or anything. But yeah, I got to go.
No, it's all good. Just don't close it until it uploads.
I'll leave and
but
I'll
all
leave it
good,
open
man.
to. All right, man. Thank you, gentlemen.
Sounds
Sorry, I
great.
got to go.
Bro, have a great day, dude. All good.
Later, Taylor.
John, will you repeat that question, please, real quick, and I'll answer it?
Yeah.
I think I know.
So yeah. Hunter said, more of a life question for the four of you. How do you guys bounce back after an extended period of life constantly testing you?
Yeah, I would just think about, dude, Taylor said it very well. Man, life is hard. Life is going to be hard. It's going to be testing you constantly. But the way this perspective has just always really helped me. All right. Life is hard no matter what, but you get to choose your hard. Okay. In my opinion, it is much harder to go through life being fat, weak, out of shape, broke, undisciplined, miserable than, it is being strong, lean, and fit. Like, bro, getting up at 4:30 a.m. and going to work out and doing heavy ass front squats or deadlifts. Yeah, that shit is hard, but it's not as hard as being weak. Okay. Or being unhealthy or being, unwell. And I guarantee I've never really met one dude or one person that's in incredible shape that's like depressed all the time. You're going to go through periods of life where, yeah, you might be challenged or life will test you. But if you just sit around and do nothing and sulk, dude, you're going to freaking stay depressed. But if you get into the gym, you get stronger, you do something hard that day, it's gonna give you, for one, it's gonna give you a ton of dopamine, endorphins, serotonin. It's gonna put you in a much better, healthier mental state. And even and studies have proven this. Like, exercise is literally the number one way to alleviate stress and anxiety. It's twice as effective as the leading antidepressant medications. So, bro, just fucking get back into it. Like, you think it's hard to get back into the gym. What's actually hard is staying out of the gym and continuing to feel bad or feel sorry for yourself. That's my opinion. That's what I would do if I was you, Hunter, and you were thinking about that, man. Fucking what you're actually doing nothing's harder than doing something.
Absolutely. Great answer. I'm going to Hamza has a question, and you guys know Hamza.
Love Hamza.
If Hamza says, if someone wanted to optimize gaining weight and size but limit any fat gain, would you recommend a lean bulk with a slight surplus of calories, or maintain and eat at maintenance? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does make perfect sense. And I can answer that for Hamza specifically, but also for most people. So it's just, broadly applicable. I think Hamza, you're going to be totally fine just staying at maintenance. Okay. Because you still have enough body fat on you to where even if you're at maintenance, if you keep hitting your workouts and you keep your protein where it needs to be, what's going to happen is you're going to gradually, that body fat you have, that little residual body fat you still have, that's going to slowly go away and you're going to slowly put on more muscle and strength. Once you're like probably 14% body fat or below, then I think eating in a slight surplus in like main gaining or lean bulking, that would be a better approach. But in my opinion, Hamza, I think we talked about this recently on a check-in call. I think he's going to be totally fine just eating at maintenance and continuing to train. And that will help mitigate any unnecessary fat gain, for the next, 1, 2, 3 months. But then once you're below a certain body fat percentage, like you're lean, you're strong, you're jacked, then I think a slight surplus would be the way to go. That's my thoughts for Hamza specifically. John and Scott, you might think have a different opinion.
For Hamza specifically, because he's worried about putting on body fat. So, with that in mind, I think you're exactly right, Tanner. That's the best strategy. But here's the problem is that you're not going to maximize strength gains and putting on muscle, So in my opinion, I'd say go ahead and lean bulk. That doesn't mean dirty bulk, go ahead and lean bulk. Add the calories, but be very specific. And that's the advantage that Hamza has, is that he tracks his calories very closely.
Very meticulously. He's good about
meticulous guy, So I fully trust that Hamza could add on, 100, 200 calories, and not let it get out of hand. And it would allow him to get stronger, put on more muscle. Then your body composition starts to change because you have more muscle on your body. That's what I would say.
Yep. John?
Yeah, I agree with what you guys said.
Okay.
I don't really have much to add to that. So
the last thing I would say, just for everybody, if you know your maintenance calories and you're still getting stronger eating your maintenance calories, you're still getting stronger. I don't see a need to necessarily add in any additional surplus calories. Once your strength plateaus, you get kind of stuck, then make sure you can add in a couple hundred more calories a day. Also, make sure your sleep is good and make sure you're not too stressed.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, those also come into play as well.
Yeah, man.
All right. We answered that. We can move on.
Next one comes from Anthony Ramirez. He says, Tanner, would there be a situation where the main barbell lifts that you would program 3x8, 4x6, 5x5, and then do something entirely different for a certain barbell lift? So example, you do that for your squat, bench, and overhead press, but then you do a different rep scheme for your deadlift. I hope this question makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Sure. I can expand on that. Okay. Yeah, there is certain situations on that, Anthony. I'm in a similar situation to that myself, like right now, like, for basically my front squat, my bench press, and my, actually for my front squat, my bench press right now, I'm basically following the Wendler cycle right now. That's what I'm doing. But for my deadlift and my overhead press, I'm doing it's basically like a 6 to 8 week progression of sets of 2s or 3s. Can you guys still hear me? Did you guys hear me?
There.
Yeah. So for my deadlift and my overhead press, I'm doing a different progression where I'm doing sets of 2s or 3s. I'm doing more sets, less reps. So yeah, it can absolutely come into play. But in my opinion, for you, Anthony, or for most people actually, unless you're already a really strong guy, you're like an advanced lifter, you probably don't need to do that. And you're going to be totally fine sticking with the same
It's
rep
all cut
scheme,
out
the
from
same
Tanner
progression
again.
for all 4 of your compound lifts at all times. And I think just
I
having that
think where he's
consistency and
going with
structure in
this
your
is,
programming is a good thing.
you know, you
And
don't
you're
have. Oh, go ahead, Tanner.
sorry, did I cut out again? My
Yeah.
internet's, I'm so sorry. Damn it. I was talking about basically what I was trying to say for Anthony. You can probably stick with that same progression for all 4 of your lifts as long as they're still going up. Okay. Like if it's not broke, don't fix it. If your strength starts to plateau and you're hitting some pretty strong, some pretty big weights, that's when you can look at changing a rep scheme or progression for one particular lift. That's my answer. Sorry, Scott. My internet.
No worries, man. Yeah. So, and the thing is, like with deadlifts specifically, they're different. You know, they're more expensive, and the cost is more recovery. You know, so one strategy to use is exactly what Tanner was saying. Less volume, right? As this weight gets heavier, but let's get to heavier weight first, right? Let's get to heavier weight first. With that said, what I did for Anthony specifically is I switched him to a 4x6, 5x5, 6x4 on deadlifts, you know, because he was saying the 8 reps, he's kind of losing it there. Yeah. So, and he likes this 4x6, 5x5, hopefully likes this 4x6, 5x5, 6x4. And then you could take it even further, like what Tanner was saying, you know, top set, you know, and then back offs or 3s or a bunch of different things. But man, the 3x8, 4x6, 5x5, in my opinion, gold standard, and it works across the board for most people.
Dude, pretty much every single person until you're at an advanced level of training, and then you're gonna have to switch it up because like what happens, dude, if you're squatting close to 500 pounds and you're deadlifting over 500 or close to 600 pounds, doing heavy and kind of high volume on your squat and your deadlift in the same week, it's not gonna work. Not if you're natural. It's like something's got to give. And at that point, what happens generally is you got to pick one or the other, and you got to pick one that you just kind of want to maintain, and then pick one that you want to focus on and continue to progress. So, but Anthony specifically, I don't think you're at that stage yet. Okay.
Can I just mention, Anthony's been with us for a long time. He's doing really well, very consistent. Appreciate the effort you're putting in the program.
Yeah. Anthony's a good dude, man. Really good dude.
All right. Next one comes from Casey Pedroza, and he says, I want to squat 400 pounds. What would be a good set time frame to reach the goal? He's currently at 325. That's pretty tough to answer, right? It's a very, that's a very difficult answer.
I say what I tell people when they ask me something like this, I say 6 to 12 months. All right. 6 to 12 months. All right. But because realistically, you know, 6 months, in 6 months, stay consistent, build the strength the right way, increase 5 to 10 pounds a week. Okay. Do it the right way. Don't chase it. You know, you want to earn 400 pounds on back squat. That's why I say 6 to 12 months, man. Let's see where you're at 6 months. Reevaluate, you know, it could be possible, but like how much, I don't know. Are you willing to get more sleep? Are you willing to do all these hard things and make it a job? You know, how far are you willing to go to get there?
Yeah. Yep. I think that's well said, Scott. And I would actually, what I tell people is like, dude, 5 pounds a week, that's possible, you know, for a kind of like newer or intermediate lifters. But then it gets even harder and harder. It's just the law of diminishing returns. And then what I would tell people, dude, if you're adding 5 pounds every 3 or 4 weeks, you're still making amazing progress. Okay. So if he's at, he said he's at 325 and he wants to get to 400.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, dude, you're 75 pounds away. And so if you just did that based on 5 pounds a week, which realistically, dude, that would be like a straight linear progression. And I can almost guarantee you're going to run into a wall before you hit 400. Dude, make it like, have more realistic expectations. Try to, your goal should be to add 5 pounds every 2 to 3 weeks. And then that's going to get hard. And then it'll end up being every 3 or 4 weeks. Okay. So yeah, 6-12 months is accurate. But before you worry about 400 pounds, bro, you just worry about 330 pounds and then 335. Okay. Small incremental, increases that's how it's going to happen. Okay. So focus on those smaller micro goals to reach that macro goal.
And Casey, specifically, for you, man, I'd say we had this conversation before. Don't chase the numbers, because your goal right now is to lose body fat, make that the priority. Make that the priority.
Yeah. I don't know Casey as well as you do, Scott. So that's another thing, dude. If you're quite overweight, man, maybe reevaluate your goals, and like maybe your goal should be to keep your squat where it's at, but maybe be able to do 10 straight pull-ups, something like that. It's a consideration.
Yeah. And one thing to just always remind people is strength training is, it's years. It's not months. It's years. So
freaking years, man.
Just accept that. I think if I recall, for me to go from, I remember going from a 200 kilo, so that's 440 pounds, to a 500 pound back squat. I think that took 2 years and a fuck ton of squatting. So it's like, just understand that, it's a very slow thing, especially if you do it the right way. So.
Yeah. So if you think about that, so that was 60 pounds, right? Scott, 440 to 500 took 2 years. Okay. Yeah. So 60 pounds. So divide 60 by 104, because that's 104 weeks. Okay. And that's how much weight you're adding per week on average, which is, bro, it's not much at all. Okay. That's less than a pound a week.
And then the other thing I would say to Casey is like, going from 325 to 350 is one thing. Going from 350 to 375 is another. Going from 375 to 400, it keeps getting harder.
Dude,
it doesn't.
Yeah.
So
same with body composition. 20% to 15% is one thing, then 15 to 12, and then 12 to 10. It's a lot different.
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
It is.
Anyway.
We'll get through these last. Alessandro de Lima, just pay attention to this one. Getting into closed guard in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is common. One way of getting out is standing up, but it's not easy. Your opponent is always trying to break down your posture, and standing up with weight in front of you is never easy. What is the best exercise to strengthen, not getting broken down, and standing up with weight in front of you? Zercher squats, when should they be incorporated? So I guess the quick breakdown from Alessandro is basically something's trying to pull you over, or someone, and you want to stay strong so that doesn't happen. I'm going to go ahead and say to Alessandro, the deadlift. You're talking about lifting something heavy up and standing up with something in front of you. I can't think of anything better than deadlift.
That's what I was going to say too. Yeah.
Or even over Zercher squats, I'd say front squats, honestly.
Yes.
Dude, actually we could kind of riff on this a bit. Like Zercher squats have been, everyone's like, oh, Zercher squats, you got to do Zercher squats. Like, honestly, I'm not a big Zercher squat fan. I know they're good for maybe like wrestlers or MMA fighters, but I still think if an MMA fighter or wrestler just built up their back squat, deadlift, front squat, they're going to get every bit of benefit that they would doing a Zercher squat. Maybe a Zercher squat might be a little bit more specific because of where the weight's distributed. But dude, I know for a fact right now, if my life depended on it, I could do a Zercher squat with 405. Okay. I just could because of how you hold the weight. It's just the way it's distributed. It's an easier variation of a squat because the weight is closer to your hips, which is your center of mass. Dude, like, what's more impressive, a 405 front squat or a 405 Zercher squat, John?
Oh, front squat.
Bro, without a doubt. Okay. So that's just something right there, Alessandro. You're getting a little bit, in my opinion, you might be getting a little bit influenced by the MMA world. Remember, MMA fighters, they don't know strength training. Okay. And I promise you, if you just build up your deadlift and your back squat, you're going to build so much total body strength that it's going to be hard for any guy to pull you down. And you'll probably be able to stand up lifting a guy easily if you build up your deadlift and your squat, your back squat or front squat. It doesn't have to be a Zercher squat. If you really want to do Zercher squats because it'll make you feel better about yourself, tell us and we'll sub out a front or back squat for a Zercher squat. But I really don't think you need to, dude. I think a back squat and a front squat are still better, more beneficial lifts. I really believe that.
The way I don't know how you guys feel about Zercher squats. I feel like it's a big fad right now.
Dude, it is. Yes.
But the way I see them is it's for like guys with hurt backs. That's how I see Zercher squats. Yeah. It's like, oh, you can't back squat? Well, and you're worried about your back. Let's get you Zercher squats, nice and safe. And let's get a hinge pattern in here, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, and one thing, like there's a quote, and I can't really remember what it was, but it was like, people worry about certain types of deadlifts, remaining deadlifts and deficit and all this stuff. But once you go ahead and you deadlift 500 pounds, none of that shit matters. You're just lifting heavy ass weight and it's, so it's just like get fucking stronger.
Yeah, bro, for sure. Also, I was thinking, just like farmer carries, that'll stiffen everything up too. But
totally,
man, in jiu-jitsu, a lot of it's skill too. And I guess we're not talking about that part, but anyway.
Yeah. Anyways. Okay. When Tanner comes back, we'll get to but this one comes from Mark Deacon, and he says, what have you found to be the simplest hack to keep your diet under control, even when you have cravings?
So we all have.
Did you hear that, Tanner?
No, could you repeat that, please?
What have you found to be the simplest hack to keep your diet under control, even when you have cravings? I mean, for me, like Mark, having some fruit around. My two things are, because I crave sugar, and so if you have some fruit, maybe some yogurt and berries with some honey, and just try and keep it as healthy as possible. And then the other thing, I have a bad habit. If I know that there is some shitty food in the house, like a tub of ice cream or something like that, I'm going to go to it. So just don't keep that stuff around. My wife knows to hide it. So,
yeah,
that's my kind of tip.
Scott, did you answer that already?
No, not yet. So that's the good thing. I know Tanner has a lot of good answers for this. In fact, a lot of my strategies have come directly from Tanner. All right. Like the protein first approach, always have some kind of protein ready to go in the fridge, all that stuff. But when you're talking about a true hack, and I'm just being honest here, man, I take a scoop of protein in a big thing of water, like one of those big blender bottles. All right. So I'm drinking a bunch of water with it, and I'll drink 50 to 75 grams of protein, and I down that with a whole bunch of water. Okay. And then I sit there and wait, I sit there and wait. And if I'm still hungry, hey, maybe I need some more carbs, but that has never happened. I've never seen somebody drink a big ass protein shake and then start diving in a bag of chips and just going to town, So like, that's like my true hack. A better, I'm sure Tanner's going to say this, but a better variation of that would be, hey, let's have 6 hard-boiled eggs ready to go in the fridge at all times. I've never seen anybody eat 6 hard-boiled eggs and then start going to town on, Cheetos or something like that.
Yeah, yeah, well said. So that kind of covered the protein test, and then there's another thing that I call the hunger flow chart. Okay, but really, I think
That's good.
psychologically, who asked this question, John? I'm sorry, I didn't
Oh,
hear.
It
decals.
was Mark Deacon, yeah.
Okay, so all right, Mark, I love Mark. Mark, I'm just gonna tell you this, man, and you know it, and you're gonna agree. You're gonna nod your head as soon as I say this. Raise your standards, okay, bro. Have that black or white approach when it comes to food. There is good food, there's real food, and then there's low quality shit food, bro. Don't eat shit. Okay, eating McDonald's, eating Cheetos, eating ice cream, eating pizza, eating fucking donuts. That's beneath your standards. Okay, and I'll use a very concrete example. My in-laws are staying with us right now. Today, they just brought home a big box of donuts. They look incredible. They're like gourmet donuts. I took one look at it, shut the box, and was like, man, I'm not fucking eating that shit. Okay, because no way, shape, or form is that going to help my goals. And then I told myself, man, I really want that donut right now, but do I want to be a slave to my food or do I want to control my food? And the answer is I'm going to control my food. Okay. And I'm not going to eat low quality shit. And dude, if you just have that black or white approach, I guarantee, dude, you're going to be successful. All right. I'm not saying you have to do it my way, but it will work. And it's just like a matter of self-love and self-respect. And I think that holds a lot of weight. And I think you'll be successful with that. That's my answer.
Well
Okay.
said.
Okay. And then Mark has a follow-up. He says, what is your favorite source of protein and how do you keep it from tasting bad after eating it for a lengthy amount of time? Steak and it doesn't get bad. Next.
Dude, yeah. Like I never get tired of eating a good piece of steak. No matter what. I have it pretty much every night for dinner. And I've been doing that for 10 years. I'm like, dude, I never get tired of eating steak. Like if I don't eat steak, I crave it. Okay. So I've never had that issue. All right. That's my answer. John, Scott.
Well, okay. Yeah. John answered. I do agree with you guys, but, for me, when we're cooking as a family, we do a lot of chicken breasts, a lot of ground beef. Okay. And my wife and I, we joke around like, hey, what ethnicity do you want your chicken or your ground beef tonight? You know, like what kind of flavoring do you want tonight? Because hey,
Yeah.
we're making ground beef or chicken. It like it might be boring. Hey, it's sustainable. What makes it exciting is um recipes.
Yeah.
You
Dressing it
know,
up, man. Dressing it up.
dressing it up. Also, like if you're like before I had a family and I was eating by myself, I would just do all the sauces, like screw it, just put different sauces on there, you know.
Okay. 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 This one comes from Clint Thompson, and he says, as a coaching team in general, what brings you pride and brings you disappointments? Example, discipline versus ego, lack of effort versus consistency. So as a coaching team in general, what brings you pride and brings you disappointment? I'll just say definitely, something that brings us pride is just any client that's like, hey man, look at me. I feel better than ever. I look better than ever, and they say to us like, hey, my life's changed. I feel, I think easily that's pride right there. Or that client that, has reached their goal. They said, I want to squat 315 or they want to, whatever it is, there's pride. Disappointment personally is quitting. Just when someone they just stop showing up and it happens, and that 100%, that's for me the biggest disappointment. Just like they stop showing up.
Yep. I agree. And I gotta run after this because I have a call that started 15 minutes ago. But to answer Clint's question concisely, dude, when I click on a client and I look at their workouts and I see them getting stronger, that brings me pride. When I see them do something they've never been able to do before, I got like this morning I was working out at 5:30 and I opened up True Coach and I saw Christina Coffee and I saw her hitting her workouts. She's deadlifting like 155. And that made me proud. I was so proud of Christina. She's doing things she's never done before. And then the same answer when people quit, man, because honestly, this program or our coaching, it will work for anyone if you do it. Okay. But it only works if you do. Does that make sense? So if you freaking quit and you give up on yourself, that's disappointing. Okay. You're not disappointing us so much more than I'm like, I feel bad for you if you just gave up on yourself, if you quit. Okay. That's mine. And John, I apologize. I got to run, man. Okay.
No, we're going to
wrap it up.
We'll wrap it. I'll just say, can I just say quickly though, like when I see guys here in the program and they gain confidence, that means a lot, even if they didn't realize they were lacking it. When that confidence, man. And then I'll also say, like, in this program, it's difficult, right? It's difficult, but if you stick with it and you're consistent, it becomes so much easier. We have so many clients that are in their 60s. We have a few in their 70s. You know, this is doable. So just get in there and get it done, man.
Yeah. Well, look, guys, appreciate it. We've been going for an hour 20. We'll be back next week. So, everyone who's listened, we thank you so much. And we will we'll chat soon.
We'll send more details about the Mexico retreat too soon.
Absolutely,
in True Coach.
Yeah. But you can send us a message at any time, and we'll get back to you. Thanks, guys.
Good call, guys. Yep.
Later.
Appreciate it.
Be good.
All right.